Div and span tags are two of the most used HTML tags, so let's take a look and see why they're so special. How's it going, everyone? I'm Kylan, and here I like to make programming fun and easy to understand, so if that sounds enjoyable to you, make sure you slap the subscribe button and let's get right into it. So before we get into div and span tags, we need to understand the difference between an inline and a block level element. So a block level element is going to be an element that takes up the entire width of the container that it's in. So this right here is currently in the body element, and you can see that it takes up the entire width of the container, the body element that it's currently in. You can see right here we've got an image tag, and you would think that this image tag would be up here and then this link would be right next to it because there's plenty of space on this line right here. But that's not the case because the h1 tag is a block level element, which it takes up the entire width of the container. Now this image here, this is what's considered an inline element. And an inline element is one that takes up only the required amount of space to fit that element. So you can see here I've got the image, which is an inline element, and then I've also got the link right here, which is also considered an inline element. And you can see they've only taken up the required space for those two elements. But as soon as we get down here to these p tags, these are both p tags, these are considered block level elements, which they are forcing to a new line because they are considered block level elements. So what's the big deal with the div and span elements? Well, the div and span elements are your two default inline and block level elements, and these are used whenever you don't have anything else that's more semantically correct. So let's start off with the div element. The div element is going to be your default block level element, and it's going to be the one that pushes everything to a new line and takes up the entire line for itself. Now the reason that we generally use div elements is to group other groups of elements together, and it is generally used for styling purposes. So let's say that we want to group together this link tag here with these two p tags down here. So we're going to use a div element for that. So let's go ahead and call our div element, and we're just going to wrap those three tags with this div element. So I'm going to put the closing tag below the end of the p tags and the opening tag above the a tag. And you can see over here, this has pushed this inline element down to a new line, and that's because it's inside of a block level element, the div tag. Now we can also group together this h1 and this image, but you're not going to see a change with it because the h1 already has its own line, and the image tag, even though it is an inline element, it already has its own line as well. So nothing is going to change whenever we do this, and you can see that nothing has changed. But under the hood, these two tags are now grouped together under one single block level element. Now the span tag is your default inline element, and this is generally used to group together things that you want to keep on the same line, and a lot of times is used to single out individual sentences or words that you want to manipulate with something like CSS to change a specific word or phrase so that it stands out. So let's say that we want to single out this percent right here and we want to bold it. So let's go ahead and find it in the code right here, and we're going to just go ahead and put a span tag there. And we'll go ahead and put the percent inside of the span tag just like that. And you can see nothing over here has changed just yet. So we'll just go ahead and do this inline real quick. This isn't a CSS tutorial. So let's say style, font, weight 600. And we'll save that. And you can see now that the percent has been bolded. Nothing else has changed about it. It still reads exactly the same, except the percent has been bolded. So let's try another one. Let's go ahead and single out this whole last sentence right here, or two sentences on this paragraph tag. So let's go ahead and create another span tag, and we'll just go ahead and put all of this inside of the span tag, just like that. And the span tag ends right before the p tag ends. So as you can see, nothing else over here has changed. And let's say that we want to change the font color. So we'll say we'll say color, and we'll change it to blue, just like that. And now you can see that the font color of this whole sentence right here has changed to blue. And this is generally the reason for using span tags. So the div tag is going to be your default block level element, and it's generally used to group together elements. And the span tag is going to be your default inline element, and it's generally used to single out things that are supposed to be on the same line. So that's div and span tags for you. If you did like the video, make sure you slap a like on it. Check out the full playlist, link is down in the description. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.